Hello.
Oh, wow, that was an aggressive intro.
What's up, everybody? What's up, you guys?
What's up, guys?
Welcome back to The Fruit Basket.
You know,
how are you?
And every day, YouTube is coming for us, unsubscribing our fans.
Ew.
So
unsubscribing our fans.
So what you have to do is go to my Patreon, my Subscribe Star. You can give me cryptocurrency. Do whatever you want to do, because you know that all of my shitty commentary that literally has no opinion in it is what YouTube is coming after next.
Yeah, I think the unsubscribing my subscribers is the biggest hoax of all time.
It's such a boon.
I've never heard of that factually happening to anybody.
Because
you don't just lose subscribers that are real. You lose bot subscribers because YouTube starts to figure out who's not real.
Right.
Like if you have 1 million subscribers and 10% of them are bots, YouTube is gonna figure out that like maybe like 8,000 of those 10,000, or excuse me, 80,000 of those 100. Why can't I fucking speak? 100,000 bots of the 10% or whatever. Maybe they're not real, and they'll delete those accounts.
Yeah.
That's how you lose subscribers. You don't lose real people subscribers. And sure, like the website fucking screws up sometimes. Should I? What are we at? We're like at over a minute. Maybe I shouldn't curse or whatever if we're talking about
I think
like
it's 28
the YouTube.
seconds.
Yeah, the Grumps actually do a full minute, or 55 seconds
for the intro.
Yeah, because they have a 5-second intro.
I mean, the reality is, like, I think
shit.
it was kind of proven by the little experiment I'm running on doing the shorter videos that it's really difficult for people. Like, even if we were algorithmically prioritized, the content's too long for people to want to
of course.
consume it.
Yeah.
I still think I need to be up just a teeny bit.
That's fine.
Does it sound okay still?
Yeah, you sound great.
Right.
And I actually think I sound a little longer, too.
Right,
Maybe that's just some psychology thing.
Yeah, no, it's a strange one. I think that it's just as long as my microphone's not loud enough for you to get picked up on it is kind of the key.
As long as I don't cuck
my you can't stifle
your
my
audio.
voice.
Well, welcome everybody to Virgo season.
Virgo season.
It's a very big month for all of us.
Sean put this is a very serious thing for him.
I had to write this in our shared note because I myself am a Virgo, and I have been my whole life. I was born one, and I've always sort of adhered to the Virgo essence. But August 23rd to September, I think 22nd, is Virgo season. So we're in sort of like a regenerative process, or excuse me, like a regenerative cycle right now, where like I'm sort of, going back into myself, recharging a little bit. So if I seem a little distant today, you know why.
Yes.
Or for the rest of this month, you know why.
I love that astrology can be this thing that you can just blame all of your failures on in life.
It's so true, though. I really have used it in the last like year or so to explain my behavior, and it lets me take zero accountability for the things I do.
I got barebacked with no condom, and I got AIDS, but it's fucking Virgo season.
That's just the Aries moon in me.
Exactly. I was a colostomy bag for West Hollywood's cum, but I just think it's because it's Virgo season. Mercury is in retrograde.
My 4th house is in Scorpio.
Yes.
That's a big deal for sexual essence.
Oh, Perry. Well,
welcome.
Yeah, but he's got to leave at 7:15.
Oh, no. Stats class.
Yeah, that shit it's never enough. Like, you literally... It's like, oh, you were in school for 12 years? Well, guess what? You get to go to college and take more of the same shit you already passed.
None of that matters.
None of that matters.
High school 12 years you did? None.
None
of it.
And my advice to people who are in high school, drop out and go to community college. Seriously, at 16.
Well, yeah, do community college at 16.
Yes.
You should.
Like,
and
why
you can do it
waste
for
those 2 years?
free. It's like dual enrollment. So many schools just provide it for free.
Get
if you're
your degree
in high
at
school.
20.
Yeah. You'll be done.
You'll be done.
I wish I had done that. But the thing is,
no one
like,
tells you can do that.
And there was still like the stigma of community college, which I'm enrolled in now. I don't believe it anymore. But like the stigma of community college is like
it's for losers.
Exactly, it's for
which
losers.
Is such like a stupid fucking elitist stance.
Yeah.
Because the only people who fucking say that people that go to community college are losers are the people who have parents that will bankroll their Ivy League education that they paid for them to get into.
University of Florida.
Yeah. Or ASU.
ASU, yeah. Isn't that the party school?
It's the party school, and also you can basically be a failure and get in. It's
that's kind of
they accept everybody.
Yeah, I've been at this community college for like 2 years now, and that's a really good advice. Just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Go to community college when you're in high school. Get your shit done.
And if you're going to a social science, just don't go to college. Just don't. I mean, don't waste your time or your money. Don't take out loans for social sciences. Yeah. If you're not actually cultivating some sort of craft, you're wasting your time and money at this point. Yeah. It's true. I mean, I think that more people need to say this because it really is a waste of time and money. Unless you're like a massively affable person, like you're able to just literally. Most everything that I've gotten in life hasn't been because of my degree. It's been because I'm a excellent bullshitter. Like just the reason why I even was compelled.
All of my jobs have been because of that.
Yeah, it's like totally like the fake it till you make it thing is so fucking real.
Yeah.
And it's just like every job I've ever had. Like you have experience in this, right? Absolutely. And then you get home and you're sweating like, oh fuck.
I gotta learn this shit quick.
And then you realize that like, oh, I can actually fake it better than like, because most places you go and do, everyone's already given up. They've given up trying at their job at that point. So if you can just kind of sit back and just fake it, but be super positive, like, oh yeah, of course I'll do that for you. They're going to love you way more than the person who's not trying. And then if you fuck up, they go like, that should have been something you shouldn't have fucked up. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like I was just so burdened with trying to do all these tasks the best that I possibly could do them.
Yeah.
Just totally lie. You should just lie. Lying.
That's how you get ahead.
As millennials and Gen Z, operating in an environment that has been totally mouth fucked by boomers, just lie to them. Lie to boomers. Because they've lied to us up until this point. They lied that we can't. So, you know what? We're just going to return the favor. We're just going to just lie right back to the boomers that have lied to us for the last 30 years. So I think it's karmic retribution.
Yep.
And so we just lie. Just lie at every job you have. Say you have experience that you don't have. Get some friend to get a burner phone and say that, and then it can be the place of business for. Make a fake Yelp page. Go all out to fake your references.
This is getting slightly like sociopathic. I think for me, like I've lied in interviews that have asked me if I've experience in like Adobe Illustrator. Dude, I don't know shit about Adobe Illustrator. But I own Adobe.
And you could take 2 days, go on YouTube tutorials, and learn how to use it.
That's how I learned Photoshop, and that's how I learned Premiere Pro. Everything I've learned about the skills that people ask me about from my interviews.
Music production, I learned all of it on YouTube. I mean, I had like some engineers I worked under, but most of it was all through YouTube.
I took a video editing class at Bennington College, and they taught me everything I already knew because I had been making YouTube videos for like a year at that point. So obviously I knew how to use a video editing software, and of course the class I go to take is like basics on Premiere Pro without explicitly saying so.
Right.
So I kind of just goofed around the entire class and made like. Did I ever show you any of my work? I think I showed you like one video.
You did. The one you did like in the laundry room, right?
Yeah, it was like there was a laundry room one. There was like a subtitle one where we had to make 5 very short clips, about 5 like 30-second long artistic videos, and put them all together into one. That's super cool.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
I love streets.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was telling Sean before this started that I made a lot of you, or some of you may have seen it, but I made like I'm gonna try to do shorter videos on Monday and Friday. And the one I did on Monday, I had to literally endure 7 ambulances going by, and so I'd be on a roll, and then I would hear the siren coming and just be like, "Fuck," and just kind of stop what I was saying and just sort of wait for it. And then these assholes on these motorcycles with like no fucking muffler on them that just are so goddamn loud. And I get loud motorcycles if you're on the highway because it's good for people to know where you are. Mm-hmm. But that guy driving that fucking fast on this road out, it just is.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, and this isn't like a main road, but it is like main enough to where we do get just a lot of traffic. And unfortunately, we're the one that's kind of closest to the outside of or on the street. But
well, for like the ambulance thing in Bernie's America, we'll have hospitals built into our houses, so ambulances won't come to us.
What will this? Why will this happen?
Socialism.
Oh,
socialism at its finest, actually.
Yeah,
we will all be medically trained doctors.
That's praxis. Praxis.
Praxis.
Praxis. Yeah.
Praxis in practice.
Praxis in practice.
That's what we expect of Bernie.
Speaking of, I guess Bernie and the election season, which has just has become absolute and complete faggotry. It's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. So I want to just play a video real quickly of Tulsi. Tulsi put up this video a year ago, and then we'll explain.
Oh, this was a year ago, wasn't it?
This is a year ago she put this up.
Jesus.
So let's go ahead and play this.
Earlier today, we heard from Donna Brazil that what many people had suspected for a long time has turned out to be true. the DNC secretly chose their nominee over a year before the primary elections even occurred. This shines a light on how deeply broken our campaign finance laws are and how they've weakened individual candidates while strengthening and empowering political parties and special interests. These laws essentially allowed the Clinton campaign to bypass individual campaign contribution limits by funneling millions of dollars through the DNC and state parties, taking control of the DNC in the process. Along with the recent retaliatory purge of Bernie Sanders and Keith Ellison supporters from the DNC's executive committee, this is just further evidence that the DNC needs to be completely overhauled to take our party back from the special interests of a powerful few and put it back in the hands of the people. We must bring about real campaign finance reform. We must get rid of the undemocratic system of superdelegates. We must implement open or same-day registration in Democratic primaries to actually encourage voter engagement. We must care more about people than protecting the status quo. No more games, no more retaliation, no more picking of winners and losers. We must act now to take back our party, a party that belongs to the people, and fight for a new path forward that is open, transparent, and accountable, and that strengthens our democracy.
So,
yeah,
the interesting news today is that even though Tulsi is polling ahead of people, basically she qualifies in the state, like in New Hampshire, for example, which is always a battleground state. The DNC has magically decided, in their infinite wisdom, that those aren't the polls that we decide makes a candidate qualify. So therefore, they're saying that she doesn't qualify for the next debate.
Which is really, why else would we watch it?
But Beto O'Rourke does.
And Amy Klobuchar. Who the fuck else? Who's on that? Who's going to be on that stage?
Gillibrand dropped out today. We just saw that.
Oh, boy.
But it was interesting. So Michael Tracy, he posted this tweet talking about like these kind of arbitrary rules and how they're a big mystery. Then he got some fucking absolute check mark, giving him shit on Twitter about it. And this woman says that the Bennett for America presidential campaign has sent these 11 questions about the polling criteria to Tom Perez at the DNC. These are excellent questions. I have no idea what the answers are, so yes, the criteria is mysterious. So the first question, why didn't you consult DNC membership, which is the governing body of the Democratic Party, or state parties in designating the debate process and criteria? Number 2, why hasn't the DNC informed campaigns of the entry requirements and qualifying deadlines for upcoming debates 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 so each campaign can plan its strategy accordingly and have confidence that the DNC is not moving the bar on behalf of the frontrunners' campaigns? Number 3, if the rules have not been finalized for the next set of debates, why hasn't this happened yet, and when do you expect to get around to it? Number 4, who at the DNC decided which polls would be sanctioned? What was the specific criteria for allowing certain polls and not others? And why has that not been publicly disclosed? For example, why are polls from reputable polling organizations such as Suffolk University, Marist College, and Siena College excluded from the DNC's approved list? Number 5, why were polling organizations that were permissible in debates 1 and 2 deemed no longer permissible in debates 3 and 4? Number 6, with whom did you consult to determine the donor threshold, and what is the significance of that particular number? Number 7, was anyone who is now on the staff of a presidential campaign consulted about the debate qualification rules? Number 8, what campaigns will you consult moving forward, and if not all of them, why not? Number 9, why is the DNC in an unprecedented rush to eliminate candidates from a volatile field 5 months before the first vote is cast? Number 10, did the DNC consult the television networks on the debate requirements? Of course they did. Are television networks making decisions to limit candidates from the debate? Of course they are. Number 11, why are candidates prohibited from participating in non-DNC forums and debates that would allow the voters the opportunity to hear in-depth discussion from the DNC's refusal to hold issue-specific debates? And the reality is because someone like Tulsi Gabbard is dangerous to the plan.
And
the plan.
We've talked about the plan before.
Yeah, the plan. And she absolutely she absolutely poses a massive problem to this plan. So here's what I'm hoping ends up happening. First, I want to just show you how just the absolute fuckery of Twitter. So this is just the absolute dumpster fire that is Twitter with the hashtag Tulsi didn't qualify party. Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren on their way to the debate.
It's so ugly.
Since I had to grow up watching Tulsi, okay, this person, okay, let me just take, okay, hang on one second.
Yeah.
So this person says, since I had to grow up watching Tulsi and the rest of the Gabbards make vile homophobic remarks on TV, I'm having an especially fun time at the Tulsi didn't qualify party. This person looks like he is...
That's his headshot for Broadway.
So he looks like he's probably about my age, right?
Yeah.
And so he would have been like 9 when Tulsi came out and said, like, I don't support any of that stuff anymore. She did it when she was a teenager when that was happening, and she's like 38 now, and she said that she rejected it when she was 21. So this is just absolute. This is a gay that I don't need this gay. Please go away, this gay man. Just go the fuck away.
As if like you cannot change as a human being from 17 years old to 21 years old. That's the most formative time of your life. And
seriously.
Even later on, like, I mean, of course, like politicians change their stance when it becomes popular or whatever.
But it wasn't popular when she did it.
Exactly. And she wasn't a politician when she did it.
She was. She got in really early to like a city council position. So she was in politics
good for her.
Really young. But I mean, this is the other thing that I want to point out. So this is somehow trending in the United States with 25.7 thousand tweets, right? Then you have Gillibrand dropping out, which yielded 75,000. And then you have Lawrence O'Donnell, he said something retarded, and he gets 339,000 tweets. How the fuck is this trending in the United States? This Tulsi didn't qualify party.
It's almost as if the numbers are inflated.
By Tom Perez, the absolute fuckery that is this organization that is the DNC. What a fuck. And again, like, so I was telling Sean before this started, what do they think they're doing? Like, they have this mindset as if there aren't 5 million people like Sean and I talking about how fucking absolutely ludicrous this is, and that we all know they're full of shit. And like, as that list of questions, all of them, we already know what the answer to all of them are, which is that like they're doing this on purpose, and they don't have answers to these questions because if they answered them, they'd have to prove that they're fucking around.
Yeah.
But they won't answer them because
any answer would make them guilty.
Because they are.
This. Yeah.
And again, they want to insult our intelligence as voters by doing the exact same shit they did in 2016. They're doing the exact same fucking thing.
Right.
And so now...
Well, that was the first instance of things going not according to plan.
Right.
Leading up, I mean, the primaries, when Hillary got the primary or the whatever, the nomination, that was according to plan. And then suddenly, when she didn't win, we were veered off course. They're trying so desperately to bring us back on course.
Right.
And I don't want to sound like we're... Well, the thing is, like, any criticism of our team of the left is, like, automatically separates us from the left. And like you see people like Tulsi posting that video a year ago, that totally like that cast her out of the plan.
Right.
When she stepped down from the DNC, it was like that cast her out of the plan. This casts us out of the plan.
She stepped down in 2016. Like literally the second they did it to Bernie, she stepped down. Which was so disappointing to see Bernie in that Crystal Ball interview not mention her as not once as the one person that had integrity. So here's the thing. So she clearly had integrity by stepping down in that moment, right? Where she didn't really care that it would be maybe detrimental to her career as a politician. She literally stood on principle to step down and do that. So here's the question. Is she going to go full nuclear on this? And I'm hoping to God she does.
Yeah. I feel as though we are a growing minority, people with mindsets like us who are part of the left but feel so alienated by it. And so I think if she were to do that, she would have massive support.
Right.
I mean, we would have like a new sort of DNC that would actually work for us.
Or we just fucking get rid of these two parties altogether.
I know.
It's like these, because the thing is, it's like, so you look at the way that they're clearly manipulating who qualifies for what, and with no metric that is based in any kind of reality, or they can even explain what the fucking metric is, acting as if it's fucking 1960 and none of us have the fucking internet.
Yeah.
And we can't look at the fact that like, oh, this is actually bullshit. You guys are just totally full of shit because you want this to work exactly to the plan because you want a Democrat to win whose pockets are so lined by either Raytheon or whatever pharmaceutical company, whoever is bought and sold. So Biden, and it's really just Biden and Harris, Biden has gotten so dementiaed. I mean, I don't even really know if it's dementia or what the fuck's going on with him. But like every video that's been coming out lately that just shows him flubbing on certain things, it just makes me sad for him now.
Yeah.
It's not even really funny anymore. Like something is clearly wrong with him. And Elizabeth Warren will never win. She'll never fucking win because the Pocahontas thing will, like, he will fucking drill her into the ground on it. Mm-hmm. The one person that seemed to kind of get support from both sides because she has a bipartisan message that is very clear and it's the message that she sticks to was Tulsi Gabbard. Mm-hmm. And they are purposefully fucking her out of this. Because again, like through every poll, she qualifies in these like massive battleground states, but for some reason, the polls that made her eligible for the first two debates, oh yeah, those don't count anymore. Well, why, right. Tom Perez? Silence.
The thing is, like, there is, and I actually like talked about this website a while ago. It's called YouGov, and Tulsi sent it in an email to all people who have donated to her campaign or whatever, or signed up for her newsletter, and I signed up for it, and so I'm kind of familiar with their interface, but I've never gotten a poll from them regarding the presidential.
Who are they polling?
I know that too, but like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense because I've never been asked what my opinion is. But the thing is, the DNC has been known to take some polls from YouGov, but not all. And so polls from YouGov.com that are sponsored by The Economist, not taken. But another website or another whatever journalist website is accepted from YouGov. Why?
And also, like, if we've also learned anything in the last 3 years, is that I can't think of a journalistic outlet that is reputable at this point.
Yeah.
Like this Russiagate thing was nonstop, and then it turns out to be fucking nothing, and no one admits they were wrong. Nobody owns it. They're just like, okay, well, that didn't work, so now he's a white supremacist. That's what we're focused on now. Mm-hmm. That will get Orange Man to go away. But the reality is that basically all they're doing is securing the fact that a Democrat will never win ever again. Like, never. Like, she would have stood a chance. If she would have been, like, she would have been somebody, again, because it's like people who aren't trying to show how fucking far to the left they are, but people who kind of find a position that's bipartisan and lean into it, which is what she was doing. Nobody wants to be in these wars anymore. Nobody. Like, even with Dan Crenshaw's ghoulish
us as
tweet.
People, citizens don't want to be in war.
Because literally, there has been no... There has been no progress made.
Peter got his little
little
bird.
Burb. There's been no progress made, and these wars are basically as old as you now.
Mm-hmm.
So
they are.
So it's just and for what? And then you know, like, and they tell us like, oh yeah, we need to keep staying. And then you see like the CNN chyron that says Syria get a massive foothold in Syria, and I'm like, fucking, at this point in my life, I'm like, prove it to me, prove it, prove, like, where are these fucking terror? And then fucking retard Dan Crenshaw getting up and saying like, oh, they're planning the next 9/11. You just wait. And it's like, oh, you're gonna false flag at 9/11? Is that what you're gonna do? Are you gonna fucking fake it? Because that wouldn't surprise me anymore. Because you all just fucking lie. We have been lied to so much by these fucking neocon boomers, in order, like, because we are the fucking cannon fodder that they don't give a fuck about, that can be like either through putting us into a massive recession, like putting us further and further into debt. Mm-hmm. Like I think I mentioned on the last podcast, but looking at the map of our GDP versus our debt is alarming.
Yeah.
Like, we are so fucking far in debt. It is insane. Yeah. And so the idea of like, no, don't worry about that. We're gonna start a fucking massive trade war with China, which should be happening. I think that like we're probably gonna lose because China doesn't really fucking care about anything other than China. They don't really care about ethics.
They explicitly don't care about their citizens.
No, and not even just that. I mean, like Trump's been getting a lot of shit for how that's been going. But the reality is that like China, like Xi said, oh yeah, like, you know, one of the things was well, you know, buy stuff from our soybean farmers, and he goes, okay. Trump leaves, they just didn't do it.
Yeah.
They're just like, no, we're not doing it. And so like they have no integrity. He's now leader for life, so he has no stakes in being a shitty leader. And so like I hope fucking Hong Kong burns mainland China down to the ground at this point. It's just kind of like similarly as like this, like the people have too much exposure to information to not start a riot at this point. And I'm telling you, like, whether or not people get upset about what the DNC is doing remains to be seen. But I'm telling you now, this is my prediction here. I cannot see a foreseeable future in which a Democrat wins. I really can't.
The beautiful and horrific thing about Hong Kong, as well as this DNC controversy, is that like there is no way anybody can get away with anything these days. So if another Tiananmen Square happens,
it's going to be...
we will know.
Yeah, everybody has a fucking cell phone. Everyone's filming everything.
We'll know immediately.
And what's so interesting about the Tiananmen Square thing, and fucking Reddit had... So, like, what's the picture you think of when you think of Tiananmen Square?
Just blood.
Well, no. Like, the one picture... What's the one picture you think of when you think of Tiananmen Square?
Oh, well, I mean, it's the one where they're... Yeah.
The tank man. Right?
Yeah.
But what the pictures you don't get to see, because China scrubbed them off the fucking internet, are the piles of bodies that are on each side of the fucking street that are just mangled and destroyed. But the one picture we get to see is the one man who stood up in front, and then who knows what the fuck happened to him. But it's like the reality is like literally the streets were strewn with bodies at that point. China is such a massive propaganda horseshit machine, but similar to like our DNC, it's like. They won't know, but the reality is that and you've even watched when you watch some of these protester videos in Hong Kong, the police seem pretty restrained, right? Considering what's happening, they're getting the fuck beaten out of them, but they know that they're being fucking filmed, and if they do anything fucking crazy, it's gonna look bad on them.
Yeah, they'll get executed.
But what's amazing is that there really seems to be no support for the Chinese government in this whole issue. It seems to be like pretty much universal support for the protesters at this point, because it seems pretty clear to us. And it's like, so even if you, because it's obvious, like, you know, we in the Western world, we I think take for granted the rights and the freedoms that we have. And then you look to somewhere like China and they have none of these rights or these freedoms. And so if you're living in Hong Kong, you have like a little taste of it. And then mainland China and Xi goes, actually, no, you have to be under our horseshit rules. Do you mind reading Neononi's comment?
Yeah, absolutely. He says, the Republicans did something similar to Ron Paul in Tampa in 2012. The RNC blocked his delegates from speaking. Ultimately, the majority didn't care, and the media said nothing, as they were told. But
here's the thing. So, like, if the RNC was... And I never in a million fucking years thought I would defend the RNC. But if they were doing the same shit the DNC did, Trump would have never become the nominee.
Yeah.
Never... They wanted Jeb Bush or Ted Cruz. That they wanted Ted Cruz. That's who they wanted.
There were a lot of supporters of people like them, and it seemed like nobody supported Trump in the RNC.
Nobody did. But again, but what we learned was that it was people on the ground that supported Trump, but then the establishment wanted Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
But no one likes Ted Cruz because he's beyond his politics, he's just fucking hard to look at. I mean, he really is, like, in his butter and just his weird shit. He just is a difficult person.
He's a hard person to package up and put a bow on.
He's really, and something I want to talk about in this podcast is that aesthetics can ruin a movement. And Ted Cruz's aesthetics were just terrible. And again, like Trump, his aesthetics are gross, but they're effective because he knows how to be a pop culture figure. And he knows how to operate in pop culture. Ted Cruz could never be cool or looked up to by anybody, other than like some like constitutionalist dorks. Like, yeah, that's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to be like Beto O'Rourke and skateboard on the stage.
Backwards hat.
He just does a fucking backflip.
Hey, kids.
But riddle me this: how how the fuck? Who supports? Have you met one person who supports Beto O'Rourke?
Not a single person in the presidential campain. No.
I mean, of course, you had your friends from Texas that supported him, and I understand
in his
why.
Congressional campaign.
Because Ted Cruz sucks so badly that you would want somebody different. And again, too, like Beto O'Rourke at that time period, I was kind of like, well, you know, Ted Cruz sucks, but also I had the foresight to know, well, people seem to like the way that Texas operates, even though they have some shitty people running it, like by their just kind of principle who they are. But they seem to respect just total liberty and freedom. And Austin has become kind of this shithole because Californians move there and just vote like they do in California.
Yeah.
And they wonder, why is Austin so fucking expensive now? And it's like, yeah, because you fucking made it into a little Democratic haven.
You drove it there.
Yeah. And so it's like, you have to understand that like Montana is Montana because... Well, there's no one in Montana. That's why Montana's awesome.
But nothing changes. There's no radical change in politics. It's always, it's constant in Montana.
Yeah, and Texas should just remain the same way. And that's kind of the great thing about the United States is it's like 50 different countries.
Yeah.
You know, and so like if you're living in a state that like California where we live, where it just seems like we're just taxed to death, and with really no return on incentive because our tax money is going to cleaning human shit off the streets, because we don't seem to want to address a homeless issue that is rampant. But it has become completely untenable to live here. I mean, it's like we were willing to pay the high prices for the rent and the weather and the location, but now it's being overrun by this stark reality we have to view every day that like there's just homeless people fucking everywhere, and so, but then there's silence from government here on fixing this problem, and yet the property taxes, income taxes, state taxes, our fucking sales tax. It's like registering your car. Everything is so fucking egregiously expensive, and for what? You fucking build this train to nowhere and then just fucking scrap the whole project. Our public transit sucks dick. Like, there is nothing. Like, our infrastructure is a disaster. There is no. For how much we pay here, the quality of life should be higher. And so that's why people would move to somewhere like Texas. I mean, it seems. But again, I'm going to rant now, but it's like, but Beto O'Rourke as a presidential candidate, or Kamala Harris, I have not met one person or even seen anyone online that stands Kamala.
Not a single person. The great thing, and we can finish off the California thing, but the great thing about California is that, like, we have much more power here in this state to change things than we do in our national impact. So as citizens of California, we can actually write our own laws and propose them and get them signed. And I think it's something like 10% of however many people voted for the governor last election season or last election cycle. We can get legislation for the state of California to our government if we get that many signatures on it.
Right.
So luckily, we do have the power to change things. It takes a great amount of effort, but nobody seems to want to do it. Or maybe they just don't know that they can do it in this state.
I don't think they know that they can. And like, honestly, like, as evidenced by, like, I believe that Biden's numbers are real, but I think it's only because people go like, oh yeah, Barack Obama, I remember that guy. That's really the only reason why Biden has any numbers. Like, not because anyone pays attention to him fumbling and mumbling through everything and like smelling little girls' hair. No one cares about that shit because they care about like name recognition. Yeah. It's why someone would go see a movie because Leonardo DiCaprio's in it. It's like, even if it's like, the story of the creation of the dildo, they'll still go see it because, oh, Leo's in this. Cool. I know that guy. I mean, that's enough.
Because no one pays attention.
Or
it doesn't.
Avengers or
for the most part, people don't participate in politics. They don't watch the debates. They hardly vote. I think 80% of us are registered to vote. 60% of that 80% actually vote.
Is it even that many?
I think so.
That seems high.
So what? It might be high. Who knows?
But I mean, it's still not.
We
enough.
had it was like 120 million people voted in the last presidential election. Of course, presidential elections bring out the most voters, but that's almost half of our population of the United States. So I think 40% of the total population is pretty accurate.
Yeah, no, I would say so. But it's
in presidential elections, not recurring or in between.
Yeah, do you mind reading Yanoni's other comment?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but if there's another Tiananmen Square, we'll do nothing. China has millions of. Is that the dude's last name?
No, it's.
What is that?
I think I don't know. He knows so much about Asia. I don't know. You can just keep reading.
Has millions of people in concentration camps, and the world is pretending they have no idea. Well,
I'm gonna do a guess before he answers what it is. I'm gonna guess it's like some sort of class system.
Yeah, and I think maybe there is validity to that. Speaking of like in terms of like the government, I don't think Trump would really do much.
I mean, in fairness, we don't even know. I mean, I knew that China had concentration camps, but I don't even know. I don't know. Is it Uyghurs? We can look it up real quick.
Yeah, but I think maybe there's validity to that because Trump, I mean, his diplomacy is hard to stomach sometimes, but the Uyghurs have been recognized as native to only one region, the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region of the People's Republic of China. So they're an ethnic group of people over here. They just have it's like our Native Americans.
So this is like a racism or a class issue, which doesn't surprise me in the slightest. But I don't think that I don't necessarily think that people won't care. even if this like does escalate to a certain point, it's just like, what the fuck can you do?
Mm-hmm.
It's like
we'll care.
We can't wage war against China, like even though they fucking deserve it at this point. But the fact is that they have a fucking billion bodies to throw at it, plus India and plus whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have so little care for human life and so many fucking bodies to throw at this. Like they have so much cannon fodder just to toss at this problem.
We as people of the United States will care, but I can't say the same for the government. Right. I mean, we may care, or they may care, but it's very unlikely that they would do anything if this happened in the next
It's only if it affects finances
year.
Or there's like a profitable reason to start giving weapons to somebody. That's the only reason why we would actually get involved in any way, shape, or form.
I don't even think Trump would do anything about it. I think he's unlikely to do anything about
it. That's kind of the interesting thing about watching this sort of trade war that he's in with them, because basically it's one of those things of like, he's in kind of like an impossible position. And again, it's like if we didn't, I was having this conversation with my dad because like, and I think I mentioned this on the last one, but it like my dad has like the soft spot for China for some weird reason. I think because he dealt with them, but even he had to admit finally that like this is because he was very much in the stance of like, well, our economy is collapsing, or like the stock market is just in the total shitter right now because of Trump, and that's kind of how everything is written. It's Trump's tariffs, it's Trump's tariffs, it's Trump's, and I'm like, no. He is trying to correct 40 years of your fucking generation letting China get away with bloody murder so business and trade could just happen as normal. Yeah. And it's like they have abused every opportunity we have given them and have lied and cheated and stolen, which is why when you watch like their growth from 1960 up until 2019, it's just this fucking ramp.
Right.
And the only way that any country could ever achieve this is by just cheating. And also like not caring about the rights of workers, or like having like they don't care about any of this shit. And so I think ideally what I would love to see happen, if we could do it ethically, which I doubt that we could, is just total Monroe Doctrine. Like just get South and Central America totally on board. Be like, we can't, no more you can come here, but we will invest everything into the infrastructure down here to have you manufacture all of our goods that were manufactured over there. Because I think that they would do it for fucking similar wages, so our prices may go up just slightly, but we already have like plenty of car plants down there and shit, and so it's like accepting the reality that manufacturing is never coming back here. It's never. It's never going to happen. But then figuring out how to keep it in this hemisphere and just being like, all right, China, good fucking luck, and then because we are the biggest consumers of their products, and so the reality is that like because like when. And this is like where Xi's hubris is totally out of control, is thinking that like if he tanks our economy, and it seems like Trump is willing to take that gambit, it's going to fucking tank theirs too. So like I think that it's now two really bullheaded people, but the reality is that Xi and everyone before him just walked over every fucking person that we had in charge up until Trump, be it his like misguided hubris or I don't know, but like I'm finding it to be interesting and kind of refreshing. I'm just like, you know what? Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. And just kind of seeing what happens.
Catchphrase.
My catchphrase, yeah. And so, I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to really be mad at him, regarding that. Neoni says they're pronounced Uyghurs, Chinese Muslim, and Western China. Interesting. Okay.
Well, let's take a moment to just breathe, relax. You want to listen to some chill anime beats?
Yeah, chill anime beats. I put lo-fi beat pedophile in there. I don't know what I meant by that.
Lo-fi. Oh, we had a joke about that. We had a little bit where like somebody, like an Indian guy, was trying to flirt with the anime girl.
Oh, that's right.
In chill anime beats, lo-fi hip hop radio.
The girls. I will flirt with the
and she's clearly underage.
It's
like, hey, BB.
Hey, baby.
Take break from studying.
Hello, bitch. Lasagna. Try to do a good Indian accent.
I can't. I'm really bad at accents.
Except for Japanese.
Oh, I'm very good at Japanese. I studied that culture for quite a while.
Let's hear it.
No, I will not be doing it. I don't have anything to say.
I just like saying Rito Saint Rangu.
Rito. Although Yang's Chinese.
I know. That's what makes it funnier to me because it's just so fucking stupid.
Yeah, but the lo-fi hip hop anime beats. I think I was listening to it when we came up with that bit of the Indian dude trying to flirt with her in the live chat.
It was really funny to me at the time, but I can't remember. I can't remember what exactly we were talking about.
I think that was it. We had two instances. Like
there was a funny angle to the bit though, and I can't remember what it was.
I don't know.
But anyway, just kind of speaking of, I guess, the same lines of shit that we're expected to believe because they
about pedophiles.
About pedophiles and about which a fellow pedophile, Tom Perez.
Excuse me. Is he a pedophile? Is he implicated?
I don't know. I mean,
we got to put up the allegedly.
Yeah, let's get this real quick.
Allegedly.
I heard from sources, people on the ground told me that Tom Perez is a pedophile.
They're in like a war zone.
Sources say that Tom Perez fucks children.
It's like windy. They're in the middle of a hurricane. We're hearing on the ground here.
It's breaking up out here. That Tom Perez is a pedophile, allegedly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so here we go. So we got
Stupid
this shit that we're supposed to believe. That's absolute nonsense.
Yeah. This is very cool. FBI studies 2 broken cameras outside cell where Epstein died, according to a source.
Ugh.
2 cameras that malfunctioned outside of the jail cell where financier Jeffrey Epstein died as he awaited trial on sex trafficking charges have been sent to an FBI crime lab for examination.
Cool.
A law enforcement source told Reuters.
We don't have to read any more of it. We're not going to Tim Pool this.
We already know where this is going.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about Tim Pool here in a minute.
The video evidence came back inconclusive.
I just,
and we'll never see the evidence.
As a biracial 30-something skateboarder, I just feel like...
Is he biracial?
Yeah, he's half, I think he's like a quarter Korean, but like he has to bring it up like, I don't even identify as white. They keep calling me a racist, but I'm not even white. And I'm like, Tim, you pass as white. That's really what...
White passing is white.
Yeah, it's like...
Same here, like...
You don't get to pull a Talcum X. Like, you don't get to do this. He's such a fuckface. Well, we'll get more into that. But yeah, then this one's kind of
another thing they expect us to believe.
This is another one. So
okay. This is from the Washington Post.
Yeah, really quickly.
This is a quote. He is a coward, according or women who say Jeffrey Epstein abused them speak out in court. So actually, what was it on Monday?
They made it. They can't go to trial.
They did?
Yes.
Oh shit, dude. Well, they had like 12 or so, a dozen or so victims come out and speak at a trial or at a hearing on Monday. Let's see. So this is from the article. Wild is likely the first of many who say Epstein abused them to speak at a hearing Tuesday in federal court in Manhattan. A judge is considering prosecutors' request to drop sex trafficking charges against Epstein because authorities say he killed himself in federal custody. God damn it, dude.
I know.
The hearing will almost certainly end with the sex trafficking charges against Epstein being dropped. But instead of issuing a simple written order, Berman asked prosecutors and defense lawyers to appear in court Tuesday and said that they and those who say Epstein abused them can be heard if they wish to be. That's a quote. He said in court Tuesday that the news of Epstein's death was certainly shocking, as everyone was expecting proceedings through which the accusers and the accused would come face to face, allowing everyone to get their day in court. Which
will probably never happen.
It'll never happen.
Yeah, so I mean, it's this kind of amazing thing of like, oh yeah, here's this like really obvious thing. The cameras that we're watching him, they malfunction. It just happens. Yeah. Hyoid bone is broken. Don't worry about that.
He kneeled too hard.
He just kneeled way too hard. Suicide watch, we just took him off the day before. Even though no one's ever killed themselves and it hasn't killed themselves in this prison in over 20 years. Yeah, don't worry about that. His will was signed 2 days before he died. Yeah, don't worry about that either.
Every step of the way, dude, has just been a massive blunder.
It's just unfucking believable.
Yeah, every single thing they try to find an excuse for.
Yeah.
And it's like they can't hide this from us forever. This is like the part of social justice that I wish would like really step the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because honestly, let's bring Epstein back to life and hang him.
Yes. Yeah.
Before though, we will have all of his victims spit in his face and talk about how they were abused and how this has changed their lives forever. But they need justice, and social justice could bring this to light. I mean. But unfortunately, we have the court system that is massively failing us. Ooh, I just touched the light and it burned myself.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
But it really matters whether or not Trump's a white supremacist. That's really important to figure out.
That's what matters, not the massive amounts of children who were abused by billionaire pedophiles. Right. God damn, dude. It's just like something is just trying to muffle this so badly. And yet, like, the forces of social justice are not coming together on this thing. All right, so right now we have pulled up, or we're about to pull up.
So So I made a video on Monday, or Tuesday. I don't know when I did it.
Monday.
And so we have our YouTube account to automatically upload some of our content to BitChute, which is like an alternative tech program. And so BitChute basically is like where everyone goes that has been deemed unfit for society.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty just telling, I guess, was the comments that I received on this. So the comments I got on our YouTube were all in support of it, mostly from gay people.
Very supportive.
And then
I love our gay community. We love our gays.
Very much. We do love our gays because there are kinds of gays. Yes. But then we can look at the ones on BitChute.
Yep. So this first comment on Jordan's video on BitChute, it's from a person named Tag Thought Criminal. And it says, the worst thing about being a homophobic bigot is always being right. And then below, he has this stupid copy pasta fake ad that says, the facts. And it says, gays, 2% of the population, 33% of child molesters, so just other fucking stupid facts.
Just the same fucking shit we used to see in the 90s that was used as propaganda. And then brought to you by Vanguard America, which is a white supremacist thing. So here's another good one from Supreme Being. Clearly says, an alpha.
Yeah, definitely. Look at that galaxy brain icon.
That is a galaxy brain icon.
It says, do you worship transgenders as gods of power and strength to help guide you through life?
Okay. And then we got another one from Tag. Oh, Tag Thought Criminal came in twice.
Wow, he really can't get us out of his brain.
And this is, I think, what's so fucking funny about this to me is fruitcakes. You are as snowflakey as the people that you call snowflakes. You are so triggered. And Neon Oni actually brought this to my attention because I showed him this. He said that like it's so obvious that they didn't even watch the content of the video, where it's like, dumbasses, I'm saying what you want to hear, which is that like I'm not blaming any external force for how the gay community is acting. I'm asking the gay community to be better. We're not going anywhere. Yeah. Like, and then what Neon Oni made the joke of, what do they expect me to do? Just call you up on the phone and be like, you know what? I really gotta break up with you and start chasing that pussy.
Yes,
that's really what I got to start doing.
Yeah.
So,
we talk about like headline outrage that comes from like the social justice left. But this is the exact same thing.
It's the exact same thing. And they're too fucking
headline outrage.
They're too fucking stupid to know that they're the exact, and we have said this many, many times. You are the exact same person. You are not any different. And so let's read his next galaxy brain.
Posts a screenshot of a tweet that says, we live in an age where you can build an entire culture around anal sex and venereal disease and then parade the streets with giant dildos and call it pride. But say you're proud to come from a people that gave the world Aristotle, Shakespeare, and Beethoven, and you're called a monster.
And also, there's lots of rumors about Beethoven being gay. And Shakespeare maybe being...
Aristotle, all of those fucking Greek, Roman, all of them were
all
gay.
Fucking
they all
young
fucked
boys.
13-year-old boys. Yes.
And what's so funny about this too was that, again, this is proof that he didn't watch the content of the video. Because literally, I talk about how fucking stupid Pride is. And how I'm just so tired of these events and like kind of how we're represented in the media. And then this last one here is
all right,
this
Disney
is really...
was right.
And you know what he means by that, right? Because he was...
Disney was an
anti-Semite.
Yeah. So here we go. Disney was right, says, this is an abnormality, akin to a disability. There's nothing to celebrate about being disabled or abnormal. You and your fellow gays were molested, and that's a shame. Stop celebrating this. You say that this is the most interesting thing about you. That is a real shame that you would identify who you would like to lie with as your identity.
And what's so funny, too, is that's not even what I said.
I said the exact opposite.
I said that I don't want you to get it. I don't want you to misunderstand that I'm not grateful to be gay.
Yeah.
Because it gives me a different perspective on people. That's what I said. But this person, Disney was right, is too fucking retarded and too much of a snowflake that he heard that statement and had to twist it to fit his narrative. And again, like, it sounds like I'm bothered, but I'm really not. This is like the fucking funniest thing to me. Because these people, like, number one, you're all such fucking stereotypes of like just the opposite of the spectrum of the shit that you purport to hate. But at the same time, it's like you fucking watched it, you dumb shit. So
giving us a view,
and like,
and also like
we have nearly as many views on that as we do on the one on YouTube.
Really funny,
yeah. And so
people are triggered.
I mean, these things will just keep going up on them. I'm curious to do one though. What'll be interesting to watch is when I do one that isn't gay oriented. Like, I think I have a plan for the next one that really won't involve my identity at all. To see how they react to that one. Yeah. And so I guess we'll see.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. So like BitChute's kind of an interesting experiment. But what's so funny about it is there's a YouTube commentator who I sometimes like because at least he kind of has some integrity. Is this guy called Styx Hexenhammer. And he's just like this kind of dorky bedroom YouTuber, but generally seems to have integrity about his opinions, and we'll get more into that here in a second. But he fucking shows for this website all the time because he's one of the top creators on it.
Really?
And then what's amazing to me is it's not a Nazi website. It's not infiltrated by blah, blah, blah. And then you post that and you're like, oh, like literally they're posting Nazi memes.
They're so insulated on BitChute because they have nowhere. I mean, you
have
already
nowhere
said
else
this,
to go.
yeah.
And it's one of those things of like YouTube is seriously fucking broken. Mm-hmm. But the reality is that like in terms of the demographics, it's pretty democratic. Like there are equal parts, both types of demographics on it. And so the reality is that someone being completely eradicated from the YouTube platform, you're kind of done. Like if you're off of Twitter and you're off of YouTube and you don't already have a following where you can create your own website that has its own like video, and people don't have the resources to do that except like unless you're already wealthy, you're done. I mean, you're basically done from this whole experiment. And like it would take like I think the only way that BitChute would become something that's like viable as an option is number one for their user interface to not suck dick, but the other part of it is for someone like PewDiePie to like move over to that. That would be the only way for these to ever be viable or useful. But the reality is that I think they would rather go to like a Twitch or like a DL Live, like he did that one thing, or there's no incentive to use BitChute. Number one, like our videos that we stream in basically 4K, which we're able to, are compressed down to like 360p. I mean, like look how bad this is.
They're streaming from a microwave.
Yeah, like look. So I did this. This is in 4K, and then look how bad it looks. It just looks terrible. And so like it just gets compressed down to this like look how it's so grainy and terrible. But
it really evens out your skin.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
exactly,
would love to be on BitChute a little bit more so that my skin looks really nice.
You know what I was grateful about was that I didn't adjust the camera to focus on my face, and it just kind of was on the microphone, so I'm slightly blurry, which I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
You did notice I was slightly out of focus.
Bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm bummed you noticed it. I was hoping you wouldn't, but okay. But it was kind of like, oh, good. So like the kind of harshness of your face is a bit
softer, a little more feminine.
Yes, exactly.
And that's where you should embrace your feminine side.
That's
on
exactly
BitChute.
What I was going
That's
for.
what they want. They want you to be a woman, a straight woman.
But on the so I did want to talk about just other YouTube commentators and just like preface that the irony is not lost on me, right? Like I get that's kind of what we're doing, but there are cardinal sins I have decided, and so Tim Pool is the biggest fuckface. I'm so sick of this dude. I'm so fucking sick of Tim Pool. Oh. And the reason why is that you have had so many opportunities to build your brand outside of what you do on YouTube.
Tim Pool has.
And Tim Pool. And then so I was thinking about this really critically while I was making that video, where I worked to edit it. I made the song that ended it. I roto-scripted it, so like it would just have a cohesive narrative. It would look good. It would sound good, and my message was clear.
Yeah.
And all he does and calls it work is pull up articles, read them, give the same, like by his own admission, milquetoast takes that literally don't have any stance about anything. Substance. And so he has a Patreon, which he shills every fucking video. He has a subscribe star. He has all these different.
He has an OnlyFans.
He has an OnlyFans where he takes off his beanie for money.
Shows his bald spot or something.
No, he's totally bald.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, let me.
That was just a joke, and now I feel kind of bad.
Yeah, it's actually pretty sad. We'll get back in this, but I actually want to show you.
Oh, he is bald.
He totally bald. Yeah.
Oh.
And he looks like 30 years older when he doesn't have it on.
Yeah. I kind of get the beanie.
Yeah.
I would just shave it off.
Yeah.
Shave off the rest.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, I'm not going to make fun of him. Yeah. That's like an unfair thing.
I'm sorry. That joke, I didn't realize he was actually bald.
It's not bad because you didn't know. Yeah, there's something about mocking men for losing their hair that I feel like, number one, could have karmic retribution, so I don't do it. And the second part of it is because I'm very happy with my mane. And then the other thing is it's just a really unfair thing. And like you lose so much. No control. You lose so much like cachet in the
unless of course you're taking steroids, which can cause you to lose your hair, but it's like, I don't know, for the most part it's not your decision to go bald.
So can you read Neononi's comment?
Yeah, you only like sticks because he wears a leather jacket with no shirt underneath. Be honest.
And
he does that in his YouTube videos,
and this is actually actually is why I like him, and I'll explain why. So so he does that. He does this really annoying thing. So like he always is drinking coffee. Like even though his videos are the same level, like length as Tim Pool's, like 10 minutes, where he just reads like he doesn't read articles though. He just like talks into a camera and kind of gives his opinions. But he always has a spoon in it, and he like does this a lot. The reason why, I fucking hated him when I first started consuming his content. I'm just like, drink your coffee when you're done with the fucking video. But then he started to make comments of like, I don't give a fuck if you care that I do this.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't like, I dress, he makes comments like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. And that's the thing of like, he still says fuck, he still says shit. And this is also why I fucking hate Tim Pool. So I would wager that Tim Pool makes at least $10,000 a month, and that's not including YouTube ad revenue. And yet that fuckface will now he's gotten to the point where he won't say Nazi, he won't say Hitler, he insults our intelligence, so he doesn't curse anymore. So like, but yeah, he complains about how the YouTube algorithm is going to take him out, but he has conformed and contorted himself to be exactly the type of content creator that YouTube wants, but still claims that somehow he's going to be taken down. And it's such a fucking ruse in order to just manipulate you into giving him more fucking money that he doesn't deserve because he doesn't fucking do anything. So now he's made this big push because he built this fucking rapist van with a bed in it, and he's gonna drive it around and be like, I'm gonna do more on the ground reporting, talk to people in Texas about it, like how taxes are affecting them. And I'm like, bitch, I have seen your Vice stuff that you did where you went to Sweden. You're a terrible interviewer. You're terrible on the ground reporting. You are awful at this. You are decently good. He would actually be a decent talking head on like MSNBC because he's fast, he's not mush-mouthed, and he can read. But that's all he's good at. He doesn't have a compelling personality. The idea of being a 30-something skateboarder is so ridiculous. The aesthetics of that are so awful. And that's the other part of it too, is that like Styx is ridiculous, but the aesthetic of him not giving a fuck makes him actually kind of cool in a way. And so like, again, so like when we made that short video, like the graphics you made for it, the aesthetics on that are so, like, I think I'm good at making music. And so like the aesthetics of the way that it ended and what it looked like, I think already kind of made it look better than most of the other shit that gets farted out by other creators. And again, aesthetics, if you want to start a movement, aesthetics are so fucking important. And Tim Pool is the least fashionable, and like, not even just in clothing, it's just overall aesthetics. Like the person, like literally, he's the kind of person that will walk around with a selfie stick and IRL stream, which is another just horrible thing about culture is just that. And his new channel, get this, the one that he's starting for his van where he's going to drive around and talk to real people, is Timcast IRL.
All right, well, I'm sick of Tim Pool. And you know that.
I know. You said he reminded you of someone from school, and you don't have to say who this person was, but like, describe what this person was like.
A weird and gross straight asshole. It was like I didn't like him very much, and it was like he pretended to be smarter than he was, and so it was, I didn't like it. I didn't like him at all in high school, and now we have Tim, who is just like, I don't know. Even talking about him is just exhausting, and like I already didn't like him to start, and so now it's like, okay, like let's all catch up to the fact that he's kind of annoying.
It was fine, but they're like it seems like all of the commentary channels are going into the same thing, which is like they feel that, number one, they feel this need to overexpose themselves. Like for example, if you're I get the idea of making, because this has been proven that humans feel as if they have a choice. If content is 10 minutes long, but you post 4 of them, they will watch the 40 minutes if it's cut up into 10-minute segments. That's just it's kind of proven human behavior based on what we've observed in how people consume YouTube. So I get why they're doing it, but you already make enough in monthly donations to live a very comfortable life. So wouldn't it be advantageous for you to just fucking take a breath, take some time, and make a quality video 3 times a week? Like, just don't overexpose yourself. And he makes like 6 a day. And it's not just him. It's also this fucking fruitcake called The Quartering, who's like just equally, here, I'll show you him. I mean, it's equally, he does the exact same fucking thing. And I think that like they have kind of decided that this is how they are going to break the algorithm. So like,
I hate his icon.
Yeah. So like, here.
I hate that aesthetic.
This is not the first time.
So again, same thing.
Won't be the last time.
Using Ecamm like us,
some out of
and then he's going to just read a fucking article, and then listen to how bad this guy is at broadcasting.
It's the age-old complaint. It's about control. It's the same thing we saw with YouTube. It's the same thing you see with Twitter. It's the same thing. Essentially, here's how it goes. A huge group of people enjoy a thing. Let's just say 1 million.
All right, you get it. So like it's just this guy does it's the exact same shit, and so like this is what YouTube commentary has sort of been reduced to. So this is actually what I was thinking about of like proof that your content sucks. So I'm gonna pull up Tim Pool Patreon, right? So here's Tim Pool's Patreon. And he also does something, this is one of my biggest pet peeves, is when you don't show the number you're actually making on your Patreon. So he only has 506 people that are subscribing to him on Patreon. Mm-hmm. So a channel that I adore, which only releases content, very seldomly do they release content, is Red Letter Media. Letter Media Patreon. Watch this. Mm-hmm. Look at how many patrons they have.
Yeah.
Why do you think this is?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Because their content's good.
Because their content is good, and they fucking put a shitload of work into it.
Yeah.
And I think that like this number, 7,000, 8,000 patrons, is evidence that they're actually trying to put in content. And like, and they never talk about how hard they work, because and they actually do. All the sets, Plinkett's house, they build all this shit. Like Rich Evans is like a carpenter. Like he builds the wheel the worst. They build all of that shit in this giant warehouse. And they also know that we can't do this in LA because it's too fucking expensive. So let's go live in Milwaukee, and we'll do it there. But Tim Pool has to live in fucking Connecticut and bitch about. He just fucking sucks.
His rent is probably like $350 a month.
Yeah,
it's like.
You
get like a luxury studio for $350 a month.
It's just like these people getting rewarded. Like the fact that Tim Pool got to go on Rogan. What does he do? He doesn't do anything. He reads.
Yeah.
And so again, like, but the bright spot of this is that it was a reminder to me that if we want to keep doing this the way that we're doing it, and we don't ever ask for anything, I mean, I would love to say the thing of like, because I do think that if you tell people to subscribe, they actually do. But I can't bring it myself to do it. Like, if what we're doing is compelling enough to you to where you want to subscribe to us, then do it. If you don't want to, then don't. It's up to you, because I'm not banking my livelihood. I already know that we won't get any ad revenue. I know we won't. So I know that we have to create, because we got into this late, right?
Yeah.
So I know that we have to create a product that people deem valuable. And Tim has no value. If he was kicked off of YouTube, literally no one would miss him. But if Red Letter Media was kicked off of YouTube,
there'd be outrage.
Outrage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And again, it's like they critique culture, but in a very clever way. It's never like too on the nose. It's always like a little tiny slight. It's always well written and clever and interesting, and they're fucking funny. And again, it's like in this. That's the thing I think that is wearing me down about Tim Pool too, is he's only criticizing one side of the spectrum. Still calls himself a liberal, but he's kind of so clearly not. I mean, it's like you call it like Ilhan Omar doesn't matter to me. She sucks. But I'm not going to fucking make a video about her because she's so largely irrelevant.
Inconsequential.
She doesn't matter.
Lives, yeah.
But he'll make like literally in a week, there are 10 Ilhan Omar videos. And it's like, dude, so if this is your massive focus, you're not a fucking liberal.
No.
Just admit it. You're I would say you're at least center right. And that's fine, because right wing doesn't really mean anything anymore. Like, there are liberals on the right wing, like people with like liberal ideas in terms of like liberty. And they're considered right-wing by the intelligentsia, so just fucking embrace it and lean into it. Or just admit, like we do, that we're completely fucking homeless, and we don't really give a shit how we're labeled. It makes no fucking difference to me. Like, you can watch that video of me saying the gay community's broken and call me a fucking fascist, and I'd be like, okay, that's your perception, doesn't bother me. Or that it would, like... But I think the good news is that it seemed to have garnered the ire of neo-Nazis, which, great, that means I'm doing something right. So it doesn't really matter to me. Can you read Nianoni's comment?
It says, holy shit, I just discovered the quartering last month, and I already hate that motherfucker so much.
Dude, I hate him so fucking much. So much. And again, it's like, it's because it's also too like these gaming... so there are... Let me... Like, step back, because there are people who came out of the Gamergate thing and got success that still make really well, like good content that seldom comes out. Like Chris Raygun's one of them. Blair White still does edits. Like Shoe on Head, even like her shtick is that her equipment sucks. Like that's kind
of
it. But she's fucking funny.
Yeah.
She's quick-witted and her
I love
edits
her
are good.
2008 YouTube aesthetic.
Yes.
She posted a video the other day in HD, and I was like, this doesn't seem
because she
right.
had to get a new computer.
Yeah. So I do want to talk about the gaming thing because honestly, fucking Tim Pool and the quartering, they're so fucking boring.
It's so boring.
And even I'm sorry to say this, but even talking about them is just like
this is kind of one and done. I really, I mean, I may do like one of those shorter videos about it just because like I'd want someone like that to notice it. Yeah. Of just like, you know what, fucking try hard. I notice you're not trying.
Harder.
Like you're not like again to this thing of where people think that we're fooled by this. Like Tim, you're not. What you do is so fucking easy. You literally like. In those, so the 40 minutes you produce in a day, that took you 40 minutes. You don't edit it. You don't do anything. Like you're literally using the program we use, Ecamm, and you're just dropping in. You just start the video and you drop in your end card and then you fucking post it up. That's literally all you do. You and again, you don't need a script because you're just fucking reading an article. You suck. You hack. You are such a hack.
Maybe now we need those chill anime beats.
Yeah, right.
Jeez, I don't know how long we just went off on Tim Pool because that felt like a long time for me. But I do want to talk about how like gaming channels have become, I don't know, new like commentary channels. Because there's this one YouTuber that I watch. His name is Doug, and he posts just irreverent, just like really fucking funny videos, like playing stupid games like GTA 5 and how you can mod those games and make them just even more ridiculous than they already are. He posts just like, I mean, like he did a whole thing on Breath of the Wild and he was like making actual meals from Breath of the Wild, but in the game you just throw things into a pan and they sort of pop to life. And he does that on his like countertop or whatever, and he's making a huge mess and he's like delicious. That's just an example of what he does, but he recently posted a video, I think a couple days ago, about the two like biggest, most recent shootings that we had. And it was sort of like satire. It was satire on Walmart and how they continue to sell guns. And very obviously he has like a left skewed viewpoint of it, which is, I mean, great. Cause we see like gamer commentary, like Tim Pool, who is so like clandestinely kind of conservative.
Or whatever. It's just like you're not like every video he makes. I know I hate to bring it back to him, but like just bear with me because it's relevant. Like every video he makes is rallying against that, and so it's at that point of like there's also no like larger framework. So it's like, I mean, the other day, I mean, he's literally reading Breitbart articles. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like. And that's fine. I mean, literally, that's fine. Like, consuming Breitbart's not a problem. I mean, and in fact, like, I think Breitbart's actually a good part of your diet. Like, in terms of if you really want to sort of, like, you know, New York Times.
You want to understand
the other side, right? And kind of like how they write about things from an editorial standpoint. But it's like if you just read a Breitbart article, and not comment on when it's being spun, you're just reading a Breitbart article, and then so you're just you are a talking head now for Breitbart. Or for the New York Times, or for whatever CNN art. I mean, because like no news outlet doesn't spin things anymore. They all have a bias in how they report on things. So like if you're not giving your nuance, or you say, you know, he'll literally say things like, let's say he's talking about the hyoid bone thing. He literally did this where he's like, you know, it seems pretty obvious that like the hyoid bone couldn't have been broken, but you know, I'm not a doctor or anything, so I probably shouldn't be, you know, I shouldn't have so he's like an opinion, but then I retract it and I have no opinion because I want to be safe and I don't want anyone to get upset with me. And
same thing with the 30 seconds I watched of his video on like Trump's comment about how like sending a nuke into a hurricane would stop it or whatever. He was just like, well, a nuke only has a radius of like 7 or 8 miles, I presume.
But what do I know?
Like, what do I know? I'm not a scientist. Don't quote me on that.
Then
and
don't
I was
fucking
like,
say it, retard.
Away.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought on Doug.
You were just saying that he's like, even though he's coming from a lefty perspective, and I can tie this into the next thing that we can move on. He's still irreverent, even though he seems to have a bias that's kind of
because all of his videos have been irreverent in the past, and they've always been funny. His commentary was really funny, and it was just because he like he like grew out a mustache and pretended to be the CEO of Walmart and named himself like Wallace Mart. And it was about like video games, that whole like scandal or controversy, of like the new video games cause violence. And so he just like did it from the perspective of the CEO of Walmart, and it was funny. And like I commented and I was like, listen, dude, like I really enjoyed this because it stays in line with what you usually post, which is just irreverent, sort of like making jest of what's going on today. And I said, like, this is sort of what we do on our channel here. But the thing is, like, that's such a stark contrast from gaming channels like The Quartering, who's just like,
again, it's these people that have they got and even Sargon of Akkad's the same fucking thing, where it's like they just have become they bought Ecamm and they just fucking read articles and then talk about how fucking stupid the liberals are, and it's just kind of like, we know, dude, we all think they're fucking stupid, so and have lost the plot. So what's your angle now? Like, what are you doing anymore? You're not contributing to anything other than just like, I guess, giving people comfort food. I mean, it's just you are as disposable as Fox News or CNN now. Like what used to make YouTube cool was that it was different. You know what I mean? Like, but again, it's just like everyone kind of has to fit the metric. But speaking of, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Of what?
I was going to say of irreverent humor. We watched Dave Chappelle's new special.
Oh, we did. Yeah, we do need to talk about that. He is in the thumbnail.
Yeah. I
liked it.
Yeah, I mean, all of these channels that we just shit on are all talking about how great it was, and it really is great. He does not give a fuck about anything, and comes at issues like abortion, where again does what comedian I think one of the best ways that comedians operate are they piss you off and then reel you back in, and he does it like 15 different times. On guns, abortion, he fucking trashes gay people so hard in a way that Sean and I were laughing hysterically about it, because it was totally fair criticism of like, he uses this analogy where he talks about all the different parts of the acronym being in the car, the L's, the G's, the B's, and the T's. And he's like, but the G's resent the T's because the T's make the trip so much longer in the road trip. And it's so true of just kind of a roundabout way of saying, like, will you guys stop making this so difficult for us with your crazy fucking branding?
Yeah. You guys should watch the special. It's really good, and it's funny, and then there are also sort of like serious moments that didn't feel like virtue signaling.
No.
They actually felt sincere and natural.
And there was even like some kind of like black identity stuff in it that I thought was fair criticisms of white people. Like he talks about the opiate crisis and compares it to the crack epidemic, and he's like, this has been a really interesting, eye-opening experience for me as a black person, because now I know how white people felt when the crack epidemic was happening, and I just don't care. And I thought that was totally fucking fair. And then he does this thing of like, just say no. You know what I mean? Of like, so, and it was so fucking true. Like, white people did not give a fuck about that. They're just like, why are these black people just out of control? And it's like, no, this is a fucking sickness with a drug that's radically addictive. Yeah. And again, it's like, now that white people are afflicted with something that's killing us in mass, now we care. I thought it was a really fair criticism. I don't want to spoil too many bits. So,
and like Chappelle's last special, he got like canceled, and I'm putting quotes around that. And like so many times Chappelle has been canceled. He's been canceled every special.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the thing is, I think I'm taking this take from somebody I follow on Twitter, and I'm forgetting. I don't know if it was Anna Kachian or Shu on Head. And I'm sorry, I forget. But the thing about Chappelle is that you can't cancel him because he doesn't care if he gets canceled.
Well, and also he's too big to be canceled. Like, again, he talks about the Kevin Hart thing, and I think that the reality is that if you are someone like him, or like really any celebrity that is sort of in the A-list zeitgeist, and I would consider him to be, he's so legendary at this point. If you just don't capitulate, you're fine.
Yeah.
You just don't apologize.
You never apologized.
No, just don't do it, because it's not what they want. They want you to shape yourself in order to fit their view of the world. And if you do that, you're going to lose your audience. So just don't do it. Don't say sorry. Don't be, and then write a really good stand-up in response, or write content that is a good rebuttal to the shit that you got for the last one. And don't capitulate.
Yeah, don't succumb to the stupid pressure of like the vast minority left.
And that's what's so crazy about it, is that like nobody everybody loves Dave Chappelle. Everybody. Mm-hmm. And so I mean, I pulled up one article. We don't have to read it. I just want to show you the headline. It's from The Guardian.
Jesus. Really? The Guardian wrote this?
Yeah. Well, they're very liberal.
Yeah, but this is kind of extreme. Shock and bore. How Dave Chappelle lost his comic touch.
Written by some fucking idiot
Charles
who
Bramesco,
could never even imagine accomplishing what Dave Chappelle's accomplished in his lifetime. Who probably loved the fucking Chappelle Show.
Yeah.
It's just it's so disingenuous and it's so obvious that it's anyway. Just go watch it. It's fucking excellent. And I think that it's better than the other ones that he's done so far. I think it's his best one that he's done so far.
I want to talk a little, just briefly. I mean, I know we're an hour and 15 now, but I want to talk about, like, in the cancellation ether.
The Pro Jared thing?
Yeah, there was a YouTuber named Pro Jared.
So I'll tell you how much I know about this. Okay. And, like, I'm very tertiary because I didn't know who he was before the scandal. Mm-hmm. And so it's very difficult for me to get invested in this story. And he's hard to look at, another problem. So, like, his face just bothers the fuck out of me. So I know that he's, like, a gaming YouTuber, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then gaming and just nerd.
Okay. Nerd, whatever, culture.
Essence.
So then he cheated on his wife, and then it was supposed to be with underage people, and that's what canceled him in the first place.
Okay.
And then he went dark, and then I know that he came back with an apology video or something, but I don't know. I don't know what the content of the video was.
So, to sort of, I don't know, go back over the bullet points you brought up. So he was accused of, and this was in May, he was accused of cheating on his wife with somebody named Holly Conrad, who is also in the nerd culture, whatever, atmosphere of nerd culture, who was also married, who they say was also married at the time that it happened. He was accused of cheating on his wife, and then he had a Tumblr blog that was dedicated to exchanging nudes with consenting adults.
Okay.
And the accusations that came out, cheating on his wife, and then also exchanging nudes with minors.
Okay.
After allegedly explicitly saying age doesn't matter. There were two main accusers and the most important thing is that child, like, pornography and, like, that accusation is very, very serious.
Well, yeah.
And these were, like, hugely serious accusations, and he was completely erased from, like, the Game Grumps channel. They cut all ties immediately because of these accusations.
I think that, like, that sort of thing is grounds for, like, legitimate grounds for cancellation. Like, fucking around with kids is, like...
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The two people that came forward, their names were Chai and Charlie, and they accused him of, like, accepting nudes or, like, coercing nudes out of them while they were underage. And yesterday he posted, like, a 45-minute video going over every accusation and basically debunking all of it. Chai and Charlie were two people who had no proof of any of their... Well, Chai had no proof of their communications whatsoever. And there were no messages on his Tumblr. There was no exchanging of nudes. There was no added contact in your Snapchat or whatever in his Snapchat. And anyway, so he got just canceled for all of these things. And Charlie's accusations were baseless as well because he posted, like, a chat screenshot that was very, like, that did not include everything. And then at the beginning of their chat, Jared shows that he asked their age and they said 18 plus. And so they did exchange nudes, whatever. But the thing is, Jared got canceled months ago, and he had to, like, take a step back and gather all of the truthful information. 4 months, right? Yeah, it was a long time, and so he was gone for a very long time. But he was completely abandoned by all of his friends, who never once stopped to ask what the truth was.
Which, I mean, that's one of those amazing lessons in life is when, like, you actually go through some shit like that. Is you'll find out who your as Louis C.K. said, you'll find out who your real friends are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it's just another fucking lesson. But
the
cancellation culture.
Internet forgave him, right? That's kind of what I was reading into it. Like, I feel like everyone's like, yep, that he's right.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the thing is, like, according to him, he didn't cheat on his wife. They were actually already in the process of getting a divorce. Yeah. And and Holly Conrad, who was married to Ross, who was a part of the Game Grumps team, and I think he still technically is. He's, I think, in their game development, or animation, and so, like, Holly and Ross were also splitting up. I think her name is Heidi. So Heidi and Jared were also splitting up.
Infidelity really happened.
Exactly, and every person involved knew about the fact that Holly and Jared were, sort of seeing each other.
Okay.
And so, like, finalizing the divorce is a long process, and when you're already emotionally detached and you already know that you're going to be separated from this person for good, I don't know. They're adults. They're allowed to do whatever they want with their sex life with other consenting adults.
Yeah, it struck me from the little bit that I saw about it. And again, I didn't know who he was before the scandal, so like it's hard for me to feel a lot of investment into it.
I know.
It felt very much like the James Charles kind of redemption arc thing in a lot of ways.
The tough thing is that I felt a lot of connection to it because I sort of exist in the same, or I consume nerd content.
Yeah.
A lot of it, and a lot of gaming content, and even stuff that, like, I watch, like, D&D videos, and I don't give a shit about D&D. I just find it interesting, like, the world that it exists in. I find it all, like, very interesting. I don't play D&D, but the thing is, like, nerd culture is important for people, and it's the fact that, like, he was a part of that, and he was such a huge part of that. It was very sad to see this happen to him, and also very sad to see him just get completely canceled and have zero redemption until yesterday.
Well, I mean, like, I guess that's the hope, is that, like, this will be the kind of the redemption that...
I hope it's a lesson.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I know this means nothing to probably anybody watching us, but it's a lesson of, like, cancellation culture, and it sucks that he's part of sort of, like, a mostly irrelevant community like
just
nerds.
It's a niche. I mean, it's just sort of like,
this won't really pertain to our audience.
I would argue that, like, nerd culture is more relevant than like political culture in a lot of ways, just because of, like, the largest consumers of internet content are Zoomers. So it's kind of one of those things of, like, and that mostly what they want are, like, if, like, memes or political conversation has to be in mimetic form, and then
of course,
and then gaming content sort of feeds into the format, the mimetic format they use to create political thoughts or ideas. It all has to be kind of like short and consumable, which it seems like gaming channels kind of fit that mold. But yeah, I mean, I guess it is kind of one of those things of, like, make sure you have receipts.
He said at the beginning he has the receipts, and he did.
Yeah, and
always have receipts.
And if it's something that is just thought policing, just don't apologize.
Yeah. The thing is, like, it sucks that now we have to constantly think about receipts, that we have to collect a paper trail.
I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons why I don't delete text at all.
Yeah. It sucks. I lost, like, all of my texts from...
You didn't back it up before?
I did back it up.
Oh,
the thing is, like... No. I mean from my... I had, like, an iPhone 5. I mean from that era of my life. Before I went to a 6S and then to what I have now. The last one I had, I still have all those text messages. And they're also on, like, my computer, my old computer, and and the computer I have now that you so graciously gave to me.
I wonder, I just had a thought. I wonder if he can, because then all the people that they were consenting people who accepted the nudes, wouldn't them posting his dick pics be, like, considered revenge porn?
I guess so.
He could litigate that. He should. Yeah.
I mean, he said he's already involved in, like, a lot of legality or legal issues with the divorce and stuff, so he can't even release texts with his ex-wife. Which kind of sucks because he can't really back up the fact that it wasn't, like, extramarital cheating, whatever. It doesn't even matter.
It's not really. I mean, none of that shit's even our business. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's one of the and again, like, it's one of those things of, like, it makes me nervous about. I mean, people who stake their relationship on making content. It's frightening in that way of, like, when it ends or whatever, or, like, if it ends. Kind of, if both parties aren't completely amicable, how much you can nuke each other's career. But,
I don't think we would have made this podcast if we didn't expect us to be together in 10 years from now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
when YouTube has when the YouTube cell phone tower has toppled and there's no more connection to YouTube.com.
Yes, and then we got to go into BitChute with our Nazi friends.
Ugh.
Are you hungry?
I'm starving, dude.
Yeah, we're gonna go eat. It's a longer one. All right. Well, we love you all.
Yeah, and, thanks for listening.
I'll hopefully have another short video like I did on Friday. Yeah. So we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Yeah.